Take the other mridanga. Gopijana vallabha girivaradhari Gopijana vallabha girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 31, Text 13. Śreyasām api sarveṣām ātmā hi avadhir arthataḥ sarveṣām api bhūtānāṁ harir ātmātmadaḥ priyaḥ śreyasām api sarveṣām ātmā hi avadhir arthataḥ sarveṣām api bhūtānāṁ harir ātmātmadaḥ priyaḥ śreyasām api sarveṣām ātmā hi avadhir arthataḥ sarveṣām api bhūtānāṁ harir ātmātmadaḥ priyaḥ Go ahead, Jitendra Prabhu. ātmā hi avadhir arthataḥ sarveṣām api bhūtānāṁ harir ātmātmadaḥ priyaḥ. Yes, Prabhu. Ladies, please. Śreyasām of auspicious activities. Api, certainly. Sarveṣām, all. ātmā, the self. He, certainly. Avadhir, destination. Arthataḥ, factually. Sarveṣām, of all. Api, certainly. Bhūtānāṁ, living entities. Harir, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. ātmā, the Super Soul. ātmātmadaḥ, who can give us our original identity. priyaḥ, very dear. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Factually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original source of all self-realization. Consequently, the goal of all auspicious activities, karma, jñāna, yoga and bhakti, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. The living entity is the marginal energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the material world is the external energy. Under the circumstances, one must understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is factually the original source of both matter and spirit. This is explained in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad-gītā, texts 4 and 5. bhūmir nalo vāyuḥ khaṁ mano buddhir vaca ahaṅkāra iti yam me bhinna prakritirashtadha apareyam itastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhuta mahabāho yayedam dharayate jagat. Quote, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence and false ego. Altogether these 8 comprise my separated material energies. But besides this inferior nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is a superior energy of mine which consists of all living entities who are struggling within material nature and are sustaining the universe. End quote. The entire cosmic manifestation is but a combination of matter and spirit. The spiritual part is the living entity, and these living entities are described as Prakriti or energy. The living entity is never described as Purusha, the Supreme Person. Therefore, to identify the living entity with the Supreme Lord is simply ignorance. The living entity is the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord, although there is factually no difference between the energy and the energetic. The duty of the living entity is to understand his real identity. When he does, Krishna gives him all the facilities to come to the platform of devotional service. That is the perfection of life. This is indicated in the Vedic Upanishad. Yam evaisha vrunute tena labhyas tasyeisha ātmā vivrunute tanum swam. Lord Krishna confirms this in Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 10, text number 10. Tesham satata yuktānāṁ bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. The conclusion is that one must come to the platform of bhakti yoga, even though one may begin with karma yoga, jñāna yoga, or ashtanga yoga. Unless one comes to the platform of bhakti yoga, self-realization or realization of the absolute truth cannot be achieved. Om ajnana timirandhasya gyananjana salakaya chaksur unmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It is described that the Srimad Bhagavatam is like the sun, and the bhaktas are like planets who sit far, far from the sun. Please come closer. There's no need to sit so far. Because the fifth canto describes that the rays of the sun travel up to the Loka mountains. And beyond the Loka mountains is darkness. So the farther we sit from Bhagavatam, get the idea. Please come closer. Okay. So Nārada Muni is giving a set of instructions to the Pracetās. Now the Pracetās don't need to be told that Bhakti Yoga is higher than Jnana Yoga, is higher than Ashtanga Yoga, is higher than Karma Yoga. This is like the beginning, foundational principles of spiritual life. But Nārada is explaining. And if we carefully observe all the verses that Nārada has been speaking, we'll see that Nārada is teaching the Achintya Bheda philosophy. The reason Nārada is speaking this is the Pracetās have requested. Their request is that although we have seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face, we have received instructions from him directly. We've also received instructions from Lord Shiva directly. But guess what? We forgot. We've forgotten these instructions because we've been very busily involved in material life. So the first principle is that when our absorption is in matter, or when there is forgetfulness of Krishna, all other types of forgetfulness manifests. Or that when we don't see connection with Krishna in our activities, when we don't make that connection with Krishna through our activities, then the instructions that actually connect us to Krishna, we forget them. We develop a kind of, in the spiritual sense, it's called blindness or myopia. Myopia means we only can see this but cannot see something further. So Nārada Muni is beginning with the basics again. However, he's not talking basics like you're not this body, He's giving them principles of utility, how they can very quickly establish themselves in the same remembrance that they had prior. And what establishes very quickly that memory is the achintya bheda bheda discussion or principles. So achintya bheda bheda very simply is that Krishna is a person who has multifarious energies. There is a simultaneous oneness and difference in relationship between him and these energies. When one understands that, the whole idea of what one should be doing, how one should be doing those things, and unto whom one should be doing those things falls right in place. And these are very intelligent persons. They already know. We have noticed that we know certain principles, but when we forget them, all somebody has to say is one little thing and everything else falls in place. You've had that experience, right? Something very little is not clear. Everything else we know. And the spiritual master or another devotee just fills in that little piece and everything else becomes clear. It's like a camera. We have the perfect instrument. The lighting is all set properly. We have composed the picture. We have composed the picture carefully. We've done all of that. All we need is to move the lens to focus in a particular way. And as soon as the focus is there, you get the perfect shot. Better now? Better now? My gosh, I can't speak like this. As soon as we... This is too uncomfortable. Too bad. They should be here. I know, she should be here. So as soon as that little focus, the perfect instrument, the perfect lighting, the environment is clear, everything is perfect. Just that little focus and boom, everything becomes clear. Like Arjuna. Arjuna is standing on the brink of war. He has everything that's working for him. This is gone. He has everything that's working for him. Except me. He has the perfect chariot. He has the perfect army. He has the perfect setting that he is on the side of Dharma. He has Krishna on his side. The victory has already been predetermined that Arjuna is going to win this war. In fact, even Sanjay said, Dharma kshetra kurukshetra. Dhritarashtra asked the question, Dharma kshetra. But everything was in place, except it was not clear to Arjuna. And Krishna had to just adjust. This is not working. So I don't know what to do. We come to bhūmir, nalo, vāyuḥ. We'll see how things don't work. We haven't come to that principle yet. In Hindi there is a saying, लातों के भूत बातों से नहीं मानते. That for some persons, good advice doesn't suffice. You have to kick them. Unless you beat them, they don't listen. Mike is like that. Not Bhakta Mike. Of course, this is also Bhakta only. It's used in devotional service. So for Arjuna, slight adjustment had to be made. That slight adjustment was just to remind Arjuna that you are eternally my part and parcel. You are my fragmental part and parcel. You and I have an eternal loving relationship. Everything that you do is meant to be a service to me. As soon as Krishna described that, Arjuna's first answer is sarvameta dhrutam manye. I think the loose contact is here, not there. Nashto moha smritir labdhva. The memory is back. And as soon as memory came back, everything that Krishna had spoken fell right into place. So Nārada is teaching or speaking to the Pracetās to bring everything back into focus for the Pracetās. So we've also been hearing this from the beginning, right? From Canto 1, 2, 3, 4, it's the same lessons, the end of Canto 4. Nārada is speaking in a very particular way. The particular way is that utility is the principle. Their problem is, or the way they have described the Pracetās, is because they have been engaged in fruitive activity or material activity, they have forgotten the instructions. So utility is being taught. And it's described that a person who understands this utility is the principle can make life very successful. So, first of all, for utility is the principle that Prabhupada taught us. First we should know that where everything comes from. So Krishna describes that all the material elements come from me. Bhūmir, ātmā, nalo, vāyuḥ, khaṁ, mano, buddhir, evacha. Evacha, cha means and, so he's giving a list. Eva describes that there's no doubt about this. Eva, certainly. So when we know something belongs to someone, then we give it back to that person. Whenever we find a orphaned bead bag, we find out whose bead bag is this, whose bead bag is this. Oh, such and such bhaktas. We return it to them. Whose phone is this? Such and such persons. We return the phone back. Because when we know the sense of proprietorship, giving it back to that person is just the right thing to do. So Krishna describes that everything that you see in this world belongs to me. So the question is, who do we give it back to? We give it back to Krishna. Then one may ask, who am I? And Krishna says the living entity is also part and parcel of me, coming from me. That means even the soul has to be returned to Krishna. However, people who are not aware of this, who don't have the proper sense of proprietorship, they exploit. Yayedam dharayate jagat. They exploit it. So there is land. People exploit, take away Krishna's land and claim it as their land. Yesterday in the video, Prabhupada was speaking in Melbourne, Australia, that there was America. Before the Americans came, there was America. After they all die and go away, America will still be there. But in between, people come and say, this is my land, my country. And people fight about how much the border should be. Although there is no border, we make those lines. Either mutually agree or by force. We draw certain lines. We pay someone money and we draw a boundary, a fence, and say, this is my land, my property. I'm going to build a house on this. This is mine. When it's not ours, the land belongs to Krishna. Water. Countries say, these are our waters. You cannot enter. If you enter, we'll send a torpedo from our submarines. Or people take water and bottle them and sell them. This is our water. This is all exploitation. Water doesn't belong to this country, that company. Everything belongs to Krishna. Like, where did water come from before they bottled it? Some spring. Where did the spring come from? Mountains. Where did the water on the mountains come from? From the oceans. Where did the ocean come from? No one filled it up. On the altar we've been listening to Prabhupada, and he's saying, actually if you look at the ocean, what is it? It is nothing but a cup that holds water. And this cup, the earth moves like this, so the cup is actually turning upside down, and then it moves around. But this water is not falling down. It's not like as soon as the earth moves like this, the Pacific Ocean becomes all empty. So he's saying, can any one of you, any scientist, anyone, design a cup that you turn upside down, the water will not fall? No one. But Krishna can do it. Not one. Millions of cups are floating like that. The water is coming from him. Air. Countries also decide, this is our airspace. You cannot enter our airspace. You enter our airspace, we'll send our F-16s, we'll send our bazooka, whatever, missiles and hunt you down. Our air. I also heard that in Japan, there are places where the pollution is so intense that you can drop in a quarter, whatever their currency is, and take in a whiff of oxygen, just to breathe the pure air. But the companies are selling it, our air, branded air. Or khaṁ, agni, fire also, electricity. People claim this electricity belongs to us, ComEd, etc. When everything is actually Krishna's energies. Space. Of course, we know the space program and all of that. People claim these satellites are working in this orbit, this space belongs to us, that space belongs to you. Like that. Even the realm of mind and intelligence, the whole idea of intellectual property rights. This idea came from me, I am the owner, and I have a patent against it, a patent for it, and you cannot use it. If you use it, you have to give me royalty. Intellectual properties, but intelligence comes from Krishna. So without knowing all this, people exploit. Then the soul itself. Krishna says, apareyam itastvanyam. So even the soul belongs to Krishna. But people do all sorts of things with their life. Living irresponsibly or living in ignorance. So without knowing the utility of things, one lives a very confused life. So Prabhupada is describing to us, Nārada is speaking to the Pracetās, and Prabhupada is speaking to us, that Krishna is the source of everything. Like, from our finger, from skin, comes the skin and the nail. Both are coming from the finger. Right? If we cut the finger, it bleeds and we are in pain. But you cut the nail, you don't feel it. Correct? So like that, the material energy and the living entities, both are coming from Krishna. One is conscious, the other is inert. According to utility. When Krishna says bhinna prakritir ashtada, the word bhinna means separated. Separated is not that Krishna is not connected. Separated means from the vantage point of the living entity. Sometimes when we touch it, it makes it worse. So the problem is here. Separated. Because the living entity does not see the connection of the elements with Krishna, it works in a separated manner. It works, these elements work in such a way that we cannot see Krishna in those elements or through those elements. That is the separated. But as soon as we see their connection to Krishna, these regain their spiritual nature, or we say they become spiritualized. So this bhinna prakriti rashtada, the word bhinna is from the viewpoint of the living entity. Because for Krishna there is nothing called material or spiritual. It's all spiritual. Daivi hi esha gunamayi. He calls it Daivi. So anything, when we see its connection with Krishna, it's in its spiritual identity. When we see it separated from Krishna, it's in its material identity. So here in this verse, even the spiritual being's identity is given by Krishna. Harir, ātmātmadaḥ. Ātmātmadaḥ, giving our identity. When we have identity, we have security. We feel sheltered. Correct? Let's take children. When children have parents, they feel sheltered. They have an identity. This is my set of parents. This is my family name. I have an identity. Who are you? I am such and such. Right? If someone asked her, who are you? I said, my name is John. The first question is, John who? We say, John Doe. Oh. The moment there is a family name, there is a sense of identity. I'm talking worldly sense right now. Those who don't have that connection don't have sense of identity. Who do you belong to? Who are your parents? But I have no idea. They don't have an identity in this world. So the living entity, unless understands that I am actually part and parcel of Krishna, until then has no sense of identity. Can slap on something else artificially, but the original identity is not there. So Krishna gives that identity. When he speaks like this, he gives us our identity. Apareyam itastvanyam. Prakritim vidhime param. Another place. Mamayvamsha jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Like that. So when we have a sense of identity, we have a sense of purpose. Without identity, there is no purpose. We call ourselves bhakti yogis or devotees of Krishna. That is our identity. Because that's our identity, we have a purpose. If we didn't have identity, we don't have purpose. So when we say, I'm an engineer, that's my identity, then I have a purpose. I am a sports player or fan. I have a purpose. If I don't know what I am, I don't have a purpose. So Krishna is giving us our real identity, so we have real purpose. So what is the ultimate purpose? Śreyasām. Ultimate purpose is bhakti. And Prabhupada is telling us it doesn't matter where we are, it doesn't matter where we start, it doesn't matter how we got into the queue, the path is to go to bhakti. Because that's our real identity. Yam evaisha vrinute tena labhyas tasyaisha ātmā vivrunute tanum swam. This understanding should be clear. That we are parts and parcels of Krishna. Everything is Krishna's energy. And we are all connected to Krishna. Krishna is the focal point. Our connection to material energy is only through Krishna. This earth, this is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, space, ether. Our connection to this is through Krishna. Separately, when I try to have a relationship with this, it will never fulfill my needs because it has a tendency to deteriorate. It has a tendency to deteriorate. My needs have a tendency to change. And there is no match. But when I see them connected through Krishna, I have not only respect, but proper utility of things. In our own lives, we can see, before becoming devotees, the way we treated our things carelessly. Or, oh, I'll buy another one. So what if this gets spoiled? But once we are trained in Krishna consciousness, even if we have the money, we carefully consider this is Krishna's money. It's not that I can keep spending it like this. This belongs to Krishna. I should be careful. So that sense comes because everything then is connected to us in relation to Krishna, and we see the utility of things. Saying another way is we go from exploitation to service. Before that, we are all exploiting. We're exploiting everything that comes across us. Somehow or the other, we're exploiting it. Yeyedam dharyate jagat. So the path of bhakti is to go from exploitation to service, to utility. That's a better word. From exploitation to utility. So Nārada Muni is giving them that secret. Is turning the lens back to focus. And one might say, well, I don't know how to utilize everything. I don't have that intelligence. And Krishna says, He will help us. All we need is the desire to serve Krishna, the desire to see it. Esham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Bhajatam priti purvakam means lovingly serving. Now, lovingly serving, this is that discussion that we started yesterday and it kind of built up and then we dismantled it immediately. This was right after lunch yesterday. We were talking about loving feelings. And I made a strong claim that we cannot say that we have loving feelings for Krishna. These loving feelings develop with purification. So what our loving feelings develop right from the beginning is to a devotee. Devotee is the liaison, the medium that allows for the impure allows for the mixed loving feelings to become pure. Example, when we cook and make our offerings, we offer on the altar, but we offer them through our spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada. We don't offer it to Krishna directly because the actual loving feelings, which is the missing ingredient, everything else is there. The sabji is there, the salt is there, the haldi is there, the cooking has been done, it's arranged on the plate, all of that is there. The bhakti element is through the devotees, through the parampara. So Krishna doesn't discount that, oh, only Prabhupada is offering. Krishna counts because Prabhupada has accepted what the devotees have offered. I will accept this. So the devotees are the medium, the liaison, from where our impure sense of affection and love are transformed into the pure side. That devotee as the medium, Rupa Goswami says, is where we learn Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. True? The first step is find a guru. Guru Padashraya. And then Shushrushaya, serving and inquiring, taking initiation, etc. That is the medium through which Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, we are put on track towards Raga Bhakti. That when we continue like that loving feelings for Krishna will slowly awaken. I wanted to say gradually, but I feel safer saying slowly. Although gradually is the correct word. I'm saying slowly just so that there is no confusion that it happens very quickly, within a few years. It's not like that. Although it's not time-bound, spiritually speaking it's not time-bound, but for most practical purposes, since we are operating in the material sphere, it is time-bound. Now, time-bound in this sense, that it requires time to practice and learn the proper rules and regulations of Vaidhi Bhakti. Somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, how long does it take to become fully Krishna conscious? And Prabhupada says, in a moment. One can become fully Krishna conscious in a moment. But within that moment, one should give up all of one's fruitive activity and speculative tendencies. And then Prabhupada said, therefore in most cases, it's gradual. And he gave the example of Maharaja Khatwanga. Maharaj Khatwanga was invited by the demigods to fight on their behalf. And he went to the heavenly realm and fought and helped the devatas win over the demons, the asuras. So they were very happy with him. And they told him, you can ask for any benediction. Anything. Or any heavenly opulence you want, we will fulfill it right away. He said, I only have one question. How much more long do I have to live? And they said, well, it's very interesting you asked this question. Actually, I only have a few moments left. And he said, if I only have a few moments left, he dropped everything else. He forgot about any heavenly opulences and fixed his mind upon Krishna and became fully cleansed, liberated, and back to Godhead. Prabhupada said, Khatwanga example is not something that anyone can follow. Most cases, one has to give up fruitive activities and mental speculation. Fruitive activities are easier to give up. Speculation is not so easy to give up because it's subtler, it's deeper. So unless we go through proper Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, this understanding of bhajatam priti purvakam will not fully manifest. But yes, the bhajatam priti purvakam in the Vaidhi sadhana bhakti is to follow the instructions of spiritual master carefully. Then Krishna gives us dadami buddhi yogam tam. The intelligence required to approach Krishna is within the instruction of the Guru. They're all seeds. And when one applies oneself to those instructions, they fructify. And full intelligence to approach Krishna is within those instructions. So Prabhupada says, unless one comes to the platform of Bhakti Yoga, self-realization or realization of the absolute truth cannot be achieved. Bhakti Yoga, very simple terms, is everything belongs to Krishna, everything must be utilized in serving Krishna. Now, there is also some principles of karma in that. Everything belongs to Krishna, must be used for Krishna. Then there is the other piece, without any other motives. Anya abhilashita shunya. That becomes bhakti. There is not only the fruit, not only the utility, but the living entity, the soul, and the purposes and the desires are all meant for serving Krishna. This is Bhakti Yoga. And that's what we're asked to develop under the guidance of Srila Prabhupada's teachings. To get the full benefit of Krishna's association, to get the full benefit of realizing our true identity and nature and purpose, like in this verse, which is śreyasām. Our actual purpose can be clear. So, any comments, questions? Want to add something? Yes, Jitendra Prabhu. I felt like a politician giving a speech. I had to project my voice so strongly.
I like that Prabhupada says, we are all trying to exploit the sources of material nature, but are becoming more and more entangled in the complexities of material existence. And then we also say the Western world, which is filled with impersonalism and voidism. So that's one of the prayers we say to the spiritual master. So that's always our focus. And then I remember Prabhupada once saying, he says, you say I'm sitting on the floor, but I say I'm sitting on Krishna. Mm-hmm. That kind of bewildered the people. So, Hare Krishna.
This verse gives the principle, and the next verse, which is our famous verse, gives the analogy to understand that principle. Yatha moola taror nishechanena tripyanti tat skandha bhujo prashakha. That verse. That if you serve the root of the tree, you water the root of the tree, then the trunk, the branches, leaves, fruits, twigs, everything gets nourished. That's the utility principle. You serve Krishna, everyone else is satisfied. Everything else is taken care of without separately trying to do something. That's the next verse coming up for Monday morning. Anyone else? Oh, yes. Maria.
Speculation. Could you expound on that? The speculation.
What is fruit of activity?
No. What the speculation part?
To give up speculation, what is it?
Yeah, just can you expound on?
Well, speculation is a vast ocean, and for different persons, it's different things. One speculation is speculating about who God is. Another speculation is to read the mind of the spiritual master. Like that's like being in the middle of the ocean with sharks floating around. Because the moment we try to predicate the mind of the spiritual master, the shark of doubt, it's like the movie Jaws. Immediately there's a shark attack. So one shouldn't read the spiritual master's mind, meaning he's saying this, but maybe he means something else. Or something else is going on, that is why he's saying like that. That's very treacherous. We were talking about it yesterday. It's like a shark attack. That's speculation. Another speculation is Krishna would like me to serve him this way, without any confirmation from guru or other devotees. That's also very, very treacherous. That is like the Titanic. On its maiden journey, ready for the ocean bed. These are just symptoms of speculation. But speculation basically means not knowing truth, using our feeble facilities to figure out what the reality is, what the truth is. Between devotees, we have speculation. That devotee behaved like this. Maybe that is why they're doing like that. Maybe that's what it is. We may not know. So it is described that the best way to overcome speculation is the inquiry spirit. Jigyasa. Ask. Did you mean this? What did you mean that? Why? How should I understand this? Like that. So Shastra says, Tad Vijnanartham Sagurum Eva Vigacchya. Shrotriyam Brahmanishna. One must ask. The best way to remove speculation is to ask and get proper sense of truth. Yeah?
Thank you.
Yeah.
This Prabhupada says is very dangerous. A lot of devotees say Prabhupada said, but Prabhupada said this is very dangerous, so we have to clarify it.
Correct. Now, there is another healthy kind of speculation which Prabhupada encourages. Philosophical speculation uses the phrase, not without knowing the truth. Speculation in this sense is healthy. The devotees sit together and they understand, from this verse, for example, this verse says like this. I've read in that verse something like that. Does this mean that? That does mean this. When devotees discuss like that, it is healthy. It must be done. That is called bodhayantascha parasparam. Because in that there is tushyanti and ramanti. Both are there. Because one feels satisfied and happy to know the truth. But mental speculation is dangerous. Sitting in my own little cave, trying to understand truth on my own, that is dangerous. Not that there is no room for contemplation, but contemplation must be confirmed. Jai Jagannath Prabhu likes the term authenticated. Must be confirmed. Yes, that is true. That philosophical principle is true or not true.
One other thing is, I remember Bhakti Siddhanta was given an example. Somebody says, I think like this, I think like that. And Bhakti Siddhanta said, you should finish your thinking in the closet. It should be confirmed by Guru Sadhu and Shastra.
Anything else? Okay. Time for Mr. Goshti. I promise we'll keep it very, very short.